Hey everyone, I'm Flying Scorpion, and I have a question. The question is, can Digital Extremes afford to balance Warframe? And there's a lot that I'm going to be speculating on because I don't have access to their financial statements or anything like that. But one of the things that we know is that Digital Extremes has investors, and anytime someone invests in something, they want to see it grow and they want to see a return on their investment. And it's pretty obvious that Digital Extremes needs to make money in order for them to live and keep doing their jobs. Otherwise, they would find something else to do. So the question is, can they afford to balance their game? What some of us in the player base have probably noticed is that Digital Extremes tends to push out new content, and they don't spend that much time going back and polishing old content. Now, sometimes they do, like this Corpus Tau-Set update and the Jackal update. These are fantastic updates to the game, but the question is, do they make enough money doing these things to warrant doing them? What makes Digital Extremes more money? Does going back and fixing old content give them more value for hours spent? So for every hour that someone's at their computer doing some coding or some work on the game, are they getting more money for going back and fixing old content, or are they making more money for making new stuff? And that's a really tricky question to answer because we don't have the details. We know that when they have Prime access, like you purchase you get a Prime Warframe, and then you get these Prime weapons and stuff like that. That's a big deal for them. TennoCon is a big deal for them for making money, and we know these things are important to them. So yeah, can DE afford to fix old content? I don't know, but it does seem to me that Digital Extremes and Warframe is sort of focused on getting on the new player experience, on pulling in new players and keeping their overall player numbers high. So when you look at the Steam charts, for example, you want to see them, or they probably want to see themselves in the top 10 most played games. And as a free-to-play game that's way up there in that top 10, that's a good thing to see, and it's also good to see that they're making money in that regard. But the ways that they go about doing this, there's been a couple things that they've done that indicate that they favor new players more than older players. And one of them is the Nightwave rewards, for example. So I think that Nightwave is a pretty good idea. It has the potential to solve a lot of problems and also give them a good stream of revenue if they monetize their Nightwave system. And some of you are probably like, whoa, I don't like that. Just bear with me for a second. But let's go back to the Wolf of Saturn 6. When the Wolf of Saturn 6 came out, it was advertised as having exclusive rewards, and it was actually really difficult, right? It wasn't actually really difficult, not for a veteran player. They had challenges like survive for an hour in a Kuva Siphon survival without activating life support, and that really was difficult for some people. It also opened up the opportunity for griefing because someone could just activate a Kuva Siphon or a regular life support at the 45-minute mark, which is kind of a weird thing to do because you yourself would have to invest. The more time you invest into it to griefing them, it's your time investing. So if you went all the way to 55 minutes and then you activated a regular life support, is it really worth your time as a griefer to spend that much time doing it? I don't know, but there's solutions to that. One is getting together with people that you trust. Another one is soloing it. And soloing it might be hard, but it's doable. And one of the things that I liked about that is in the Wolf of Saturn 6 Nightwave, if you made it to rank 30, it actually meant something. The point, in my opinion, and what I expected, was that getting to rank 30 and having the full suit of wolf armor meant that you were like a bit of a higher tier player. You were a very loyal player, you've been around for a while, you have a lot of power, and you're capable of getting all the way to that end game content. But there was an outcry among the player base, and then they nerfed this stuff. They changed it from an hour to half an hour, and then they got rid of the requirement where you could only sustain yourself off of the Kuva siphons. So I'm setting the stage here for something. They made it easier. And so this is more so catering towards newer players, in my opinion, or just maybe even players that are working a full-time job and they don't have time to invest an hour into the game, which I don't think is really fair. I mean, I think you can invest an hour. And the other thing, too, is that it really just took away the prestigiousness of reaching rank 30 in that season of Nightwave. So that kind of sucked. But I was like, okay, that kind of sucks. It's not that big of a deal. Then we had our intermission, and then we had I think maybe even it was during the intermission, or maybe it was in the next season, but not too long afterwards, we saw those exclusive rewards come back again. And during the Nightwave season, one of the ones that followed after it, you got the same rewards as you would have gotten in the Wolf of Saturn 6, but there was no use for it. For example, if you got a second copy of an emote or a second copy of a glyph or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. Those things are completely useless to you. Like if you got a second set of armor, for example, you can't trade that with other players. You can't trade emotes with other players. And so for those of us that already grinded the Wolf of Saturn 6, we came back and they had an Umbral Forma near the end or at the end of that season, which is really the jewel that in everyone's eye. Anyone that's a veteran player wants Umbral Forma. Those are really potent increases to your power. That's a big deal to get that. But it was locked away behind all these other rewards that we've already gotten that were 100% useless to us. I have no value in getting a second copy of an emote that I had before. And not only that, but it's a double slap in the face because now the one that I grinded before that proved something. I was there the first time. I was there during the Wolf of Saturn 6. I grinded it out. It became less valuable because now more people have access to it. And it's easier to do than it was before. What does this say to me? They were valuing newer players more than their loyal, consistent, long-term veteran players. That's what that says to me. And that really pissed me off. That was really... what's the word I'm looking for? That was just dissatisfying. It sucked. That's not a good thing to do. And I hope that they never do that again because that wasn't cool, man. That was not cool. It doesn't respect my time and it doesn't respect my loyalty to the game. But here's the question. Who do they make more money off of? Do they make more money off their veteran players or do they make more money off of their newer players? And I would argue that they probably make more money off of their newer and more casual players. And here's my theory why. Now, I could be wrong because I don't have a lot of data to back this up. But I would argue, or I would suggest, that veteran players don't really need to spend that much money on the game because they have ways to make platinum. Unless you're purchasing 10-gen items, a veteran player can easily farm endgame content or farm relics or whatever quickly and efficiently, like much faster and more efficiently than newer or casual or mid-level players can. And they can sell those items for platinum and make money off of it. That's what I do. I just farm stuff. Maybe I'll collect some ribbons. Maybe I'll roll them. I'm rolling around in hundreds of thousands of kuva. Like, I don't care. I'll roll a ribbon for a lot if I need to. And then I can sell it and then make platinum, and then boom, I'm good to go for a while. I don't need to buy platinum. I don't need to spend money on the game. I can easily grind for the stuff that I want because I have so much power, I have so much experience in the game, I'm fast and efficient at getting what I want for free, just for playing the game. And in fact, I'm at a point in the game where there isn't really that much to do, so farming out for something is really, it's not that big of a deal. I have the time to do that. So for a newer player, there's so much stuff to do in Warframe. If they can spend money to expedite the process of getting to their end game goal, I think it's more advantageous for them. I think that newer and midterm and intermediate players are more likely to spend money on the game. And I think that that could be one of the reasons why Digital Extremes is catering more to those players. But the thing is, what about us veterans? Do we want to keep playing the game? Do we want to support the game? Because if we fall off, then the numbers fall off. Then the actual people playing Warframe starts to die down, and that doesn't look good. That can lead to, that can lead to problems in the long run. And that's what's happened with me. I'm not really playing that much Warframe. I'm playing more Destiny now. And in fact, I recently spent, I don't know, like $150 on Destiny in the past month or two, supporting them and buying the stuff that they have to offer. Now keep in mind, I'm new to the game and there's more reason for me to do that, and maybe when I get to the long-term end game of Destiny, I might be have less reason to spend this much money on the game. But there's a couple things that I noticed about Destiny that I think Warframe can learn from. And keep in mind, I'm not saying that Destiny's better than Warframe. They're very similar games, and they're different games, and I really don't think that Warframe should try to be like Destiny, or that Destiny should try to be like Warframe, because there's no point in that. You want to have different types of games to choose from. But there's some things about Destiny that they do good that I think Warframe can learn from. So here's one of the things that I think they do right. They have something called the Season Pass. And in the Season Pass, It's just like Nightwave, for example. You've got that track with the rewards for reaching certain milestones. It's extremely similar to Warframe, guys, and there's other games that do this as well. But they have two different tracks. This is the same thing as other games too, like Phantasy Star Online does the same thing as well. Phantasy Star Online 2, that is. You've got the free track at the top, and then you've got the paid track at the bottom. And for a small fee, like $10 or $15 or whatever, you get access to the premium track. And the premium track will have special rewards. And the only things that are in the premium track that you don't get for the free to play track that actually affect gameplay experience, for the most part, that you can't obtain in any other way are cosmetic. The only way to get some of that stuff is the only things that are in there that you cannot get at all in any way in a free to play method are the cosmetic items, and people care about that stuff. But there's other things in it as well, like they have experience boosters, they have like valuable in-game resources like resource packs, they'll have weapons and things like that. But the thing is, if you don't have a job and you have a lot of time to play the game, you can get to the end. How would I say this? You can still get to the end, you can still get all this stuff, it just takes you more time to do it, and I think that's kind of fair. If you're working full-time and you have money and you can afford to buy the premium pass, you get the experience booster, and that helps to keep you at the same pace as the guy who doesn't have a job, the man or woman, or the young, whatever, the person that doesn't have a job and has the time to grind for 40 hours a week. It helps you stay more on pace with them, for example. And I think it's fairly fair. Now, people might argue that, oh, I don't like this kind of system, but the point is, if we want to enjoy games like this, the developers need to be making money. And I would say that I think this is something that Digital Extremes could do, like, for example, with Nightwave right now. And this is going to be a super contentious thing to say. I know that's going to piss some people off, but if you took items like the, what's it called? The cosmetic items in the Nightwave and move them down to a premium track, like, for example, the ship, the Lisette skin that makes it look like a, what's her name? Nora Knight's pirate ship or whatever. If you put that into the premium track, the only problem with that, though, is that that ship comes with actual gameplay mechanic items, so maybe not that one. Maybe just the operator masks. Maybe you can move that down to a premium track. But the Umbral Forma, definitely keep that on the free-to-play track, because that is a significant item that impacts gameplay. I think you kind of see where I'm going with this. Gameplay affecting stuff, maybe keep it on the free-to-play track, cosmetic stuff, or maybe convenience things like XP boosters down in the premium track. If this is the kind of thing that it would take to get Digital Extremes to be able to afford the manpower it takes to do balance passes on their game, I would support it. This is like a really tricky thing. Like, if Digital Extremes spent more time focusing on polishing the game, balancing the game, doing things that are more so geared towards the veteran players, are they going to make enough money doing that to make it worth their while? And, what's really better for the long-term health of the game? And does it really matter, right? Because if there's always, a new generation, a bunch of 12-year-olds that are growing up and starting to become gamers, for example, are they going to be able to replace the veteran players that fall off because they've gotten bored and they've moved on to something else? I don't know. Digital Extremes can figure this out for themselves. I'm just, again, speculating, just talking and saying stuff here. If there's anything that you have to say about this, if you want to elucidate me or teach me or educate me on this type of stuff, leave a comment below. I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to know what you would have to say on this. And if you're from Digital Extremes, I'd like to say, thanks for Warframe. It's a really cool game, and I hope that things go well for you guys. I'm not quitting the game. I'm still playing it. I just like talking about it. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.